Welcome to the Prop Drop. Tune in every week for the best prop bet picks and analysis across all major sports. Brought to you by WSN.com.
Hello and welcome to WSN's Prop Drop, where we talk the top props across the sports world. We touch on a little of everything: MLB, NBA, NHL, PGA. I'm Alece Anderson, joined as always by Ryan Sullivan and Adam Forsythe. And we're going to do our darndest to give you the best locks, most unique props, best parlays, teasers. Make sure to check out WSN.com and subscribe to the WSN YouTube channel. Let's kick it off as we always do with the best bets recap, even if I kind of want to skip this one.
You had your mully.
I'm not asking for a mulligan. I came close, all right? I took a risk. I took a golfer for my best bet of the week. I went with Tommy Fleetwood to win the Honda Classic and snag his first ever PGA Tour win. So it was risky. And I was very excited after Saturday's round because he was in the lead. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to come in here and look like a genius.
I respect the play.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you're leaving out the part where he fell apart on Sunday and lost the tournament. But you know what, though?
There is that.
We said, like, there's not often, the best bet is intended to be, like, what is the lock of the week? And I respect that you went out on the limb and took a golfer to win the tournament, because that's something that Ryan and I both haven't done. So props to you. We'll see what happens this week. My best bet recap. I'm finally back, baby. After a rough few weeks of prop wins, we're into week number 5 of Prop Drop, and now I'm starting to get on a bit of a roll. I landed an easy victory, loading up on Henry Ruggs III to run the 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine in under 4.38 seconds. I managed to get that number at plus 300 through WSN. Ridiculous odds. I was all over it. I knew he would cruise to a win, and he did so in impressive fashion. 4.27 seconds, showing off his jet, securing me a best bet win and a pretty nice payday. Paid for a few wobbly pops this weekend.
There you go. It's very impressive. And the guy was absolutely the speedster, the talk of the town at the NFL Combine. So I respect what you did there. I think your best bet was probably more respectable than mine. Even though I made it out with a win, I improved 8-2 in my last 10, but who's counting? But I mean, I took Rafa Nadal to win the Mexican Open. The guy had just an absolute easy street to the finals, took the final no problem, paid $125. Everybody figured this guy would win, and he did just that. So you went out on a much more of a ledge than I did, and so I appreciate it.
I did. I feel like I learned from it though, because I'm like, it was risky. You made it fun. Like, I had fun all weekend watching Tommy until Sunday.
That's what golf betting's the best.
Yeah, that's the thing. If Tommy pulls it out, I mean, you got a sweet payday ahead of you there.
Totally. But I've learned
you're making a quarter.
I can put that in, my best bets and somewhere along there. I don't have to make it the best bet of the week. I should have went with my gut and went with Rafa because what did I say? Of course he's going to go all the way through.
That's true. Yeah, I know. I think I jumped on it before anybody else could.
Yeah,
so I kind of snaked it on you. It's a new week, though. It's a new week. But outside of that, a little scattered here and there. I took the New York Red Bulls to win. That hit over FC Cincinnati. No problem there. I lost my combine picks by mere milliseconds. This was ridiculous. I took Jalen Hurts to go under 4 seconds.
He didn't go under 4 minutes.
4.58. Yeah, he nailed that one. Under 4.58. He put up 4.59. And then I took Jerry Jeudy to go under 4.44. He put up a 4.46. Ridiculous, so I barely lost those. And then in the XFL, are you kidding me? The over-under was 38.5. I took the under, and it ended with 39 points in the game. So, pretty ridiculous week. Lost by the skin of my teeth in those ones. But, that best bet's still standing quite tall. So
while Ryan profited you a cool plus 125, I also found you some pay dirt outside of my best bet win. Let's go back to the PGA Tour. For a second straight week, I landed a long shot to finish in the top 10 on the PGA Tour. I advise you to take Russell Henley to finish near the top of the leaderboard at the Honda Classic. He did just that, finishing in 8th. That paid out at 7-1, which is absurd for someone who earned a win at this exact tournament only a few years ago. Back-to-back weekends on hitting 7-1 odds on top 10 picks on the PGA. I'm loving life. I'm going back to it this weekend. On a smaller scale, I actually had a pretty good week on some of the other sports, though. Opening weekend of the MLS season, I went the easy route, picked LAFC to beat Inter Miami, no issue there. Searching for some juicier odds, I landed on Sporting KC, earning a road win over the Whitecaps at plus 110. They dominated against the rebuilding Vancouver team. And also, much like Ryan's best bet, I had Rafa Nadal earning yet another win at the ATP Mexican Open. All in all, I'd say it was a pretty good week. Now, there was a loss or two in there. Like Ryan, I had the under on that XFL game. Are you kidding me? The line 38.5. The total 39 points between Seattle and St. Louis. However, a loss is a loss.
Okay, well, I don't think we need to go through my biggest miss of the week. It's fairly clear. Tommy Fleetwood.
But point A for effort.
I like that. I've got a mulligan and I've got an A for
you
effort.
had an A and a mulligan. That's pretty good, actually.
For our next broadcast, we want to hear from you. Did you agree with our picks? Where did we go wrong? And most importantly, give us your wildest prop predictions from any sport. And we promise to discuss the top comments in next week's show. And be sure to like and subscribe for the most up-to-date predictions. Now, before we get to our prop selections of the week for our listeners living in New Jersey or West Virginia, head over to WSN.com for special bonuses and deals if you want to bet on this week's games. You can compare the best legal online sportsbooks and get exclusive offers when you sign up and start betting. March Madness.
Yeah, nothing from Jude this week.
Nothing from Jude.
No.
Jude followed the Tommy
Yeah, he's offended.
Upset.
I'm sorry, Jude. I'm sorry. March Madness team to win it all will be from the conference. We have a special guest on the line. We have oddsmaker Brian Sheridan from TopBet Sports with us. Brian, you released your odds on the conference most likely to win the NCAA title, but surprisingly, Gonzaga, who's in the West Coast Conference and is also ranked high on most people's lists, are actually ranked pretty low here. Why is that, and why would you go near the Bulldogs?
Well, I think Gonzaga is going to come down to matchups. If they get stuck out west with, like, they're the 1 or 2 seed with San Diego State, so then they've got to get out of that. I don't know. I mean, the whole Gonzaga thing, it's we've been fooled year after year. We give them a 1 or 2 seed, and I don't necessarily think that plus 750 is actually a great price on them. So Gonzaga for me is not the pick for this year.
He makes some fine points, and I feel like it's hard to disagree with. I mean, and this is straight from the guy that makes the lines, makes the odds. People are getting tired of this Gonzaga show where they come in all highly ranked, highly touted, and then they end up just throwing up a total dud. So I think it's interesting that the West Coast Conference is ranked where they are in here, and that's they're paying so low considering Gonzaga's ranked so high. But it is hard to trust that conference. For me, I mean, I like going with I like San Diego State. That's kind of my long shot team. I love the Aztecs. We went through this a few weeks ago. San Diego deserves something after Spano stole the Chargers. That's a different conversation for a different day. But nonetheless, I like the Aztecs. They're coming in here pretty hot. The next best team in that conference, Utah State. I mean, they're excited about Jordan Love in the draft for the NFL. They don't have much to be too excited about when it comes to basketball. So, I think with that in mind, they're going to get a great seeding in this. And then, of course, a few weeks ago, we can't bail on the ones that we bet on. And, we threw some money down on Duke. And I think it's kind of open season for these guys.
Yeah, I mean, Brian brought up a lot of good points, and it kind of just reaffirms my picks from earlier in the season. Despite 3 losses in the last 5 games, I am still sticking with Duke, though. Their odds are now at plus 1,000. Brian has the winning team being from the ACC at plus 300. That's pretty solid value. And then looping back, because you had your San Diego pick as the big underdog that could maybe win. My underdog, I'm going to stick with my week 2 prediction from Prop Drop. I am keeping close tabs on Oregon. The team's been very impressive over the last month. Their odds are at plus 2,100, a defense that can match up easily with the best teams in the country. Their value is fantastic. And if you really want to double down, Brian has a Pac-12 team winning at plus 1,200. Again, it will be tough, but Oregon has a legit chance to win. And with those 2 odds, I really can't help but feel that top up on the bets, double up. Plus 2,100, plus 1,200, I'm hitting them both.
Yeah, and to add some more fuel to the fire, if you're wondering why the West Coast is ranked where they are, outside of Gonzaga, I mean, you're really just putting all of your eggs in one basket with Gonzaga if you select the West Coast Conference there, because outside of them, you got BYU, who hasn't been relevant since Jimmer was there, and then below you got Santa Clara, who hasn't been relevant since Steve Nash got a scholarship. Like, it's a one-trick pony there with the West Coast Conference. So I'm not putting a lot of faith behind Gonzaga, even though they have been playing pretty well. I like the picture. We have an accord. We have our first accord of the day.
Isn't this nice?
Yeah, friendship.
It's the only ship that matters.
Can never sink.
Oh, God, until we move along to golf and the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Odds here, Rory McIlroy, plus 500. Tommy Fleetwood, plus 1,400. Bryson DeChambeau, plus 1,600. Xander Schauffele, plus 1,800. Adam Scott, 2,200. And Patrick Reed and Sanjay Im at plus 2,500. Adam.
Yeah, I've been making you guys money on golf over the last few weeks. It is my bread and butter on the show, so I'll be diving deep for you guys this week at the Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill. 4 of the last 5 winners at this event have all recorded a top 5 finish at Bay Hill in the previous year. So out of that list, Tommy Fleetwood and Sungjae Im both cracking the top 5 last year. They're interesting options. Im a legit shot at back-to-back wins. Again, he loves putting on this Bermuda surface. However, this week, I am going to trend to some of the higher odds in the field. I mean, Rory McIlroy is definitely the favorite, but at plus 500, I'm going nowhere near it. I really like Ricky Fowler at 33-1. His best golf comes in this Florida swing of the tour. He's won 2 of the 4 tournament stops here in the past. He's finished top 15 in 3 of his last 6 trips to Bay Hill. And the Euros have also always fared very well here. 2 players jumping off the board for me are Henrik Stenson at 40-1 and Tyrrell Hatton at 55-1. The players are elite and among Europe's best, but their lack of success on American soil kind of inflates their odds a little bit amongst odds makers. I'm going to take advantage. Hatton finishing 4th in his debut at this tournament in 2017. He's made the cut the last 2 years. Plus, he's one of the best golfers in windy conditions. Guess what, guys? Windy conditions at Bay Hill this week. Let's go. I'm going to take both guys to win, actually. Just at those odds, I'll roll the dice. It's my best bet of the week. Here we go. Tyrrell Hatton to finish top 10. Pays plus 600. That is insane odds. And if you want to double up, a top 10 finish on Stenson plays plus 450. So I'm going to put some money down on both of them to win. And I'm also going to put them top 10 finishes with Tyrrell Hatton, top 10, my best bet of the week.
A couple predictions,
Wow.
a best bet, and a weather report all in one.
I love meteorology. It's my passion.
Unbelievable. Well, I mean, after you took one on the chin in the best bet category last week, why don't you take the reins here?
Well, okay. I'm obviously a little bit gun shy. I did take Tommy Fleetwood to win last weekend. He did not. I do expect that he's going to play well this weekend, and I think he could have a top 10 finish. I'm not outside of that. I'm not going to say he's going to win the tournament. I'm gonna try. I'm liking the odds on Xander Schauffele. Okay, plus 1,800 could be a really good payday. He's a long ball hitter. He's averaging over 306 yards per drive. Ranks him 34th on the PGA Tour. I just think he's got all the tools needed to climb the Arnold Palmer leaderboard. So. I'm feeling Xander Schauffele.
You're feeling it. You're feeling it. Okay.
It's not my best bet of the week.
No. We got that. Tom, we got that noted in the minutes. Yeah,
okay.
we got that.
Okay, good.
If Tommy Fleetwood wins, I am going to laugh so hard.
I'm probably going to cry.
There's going to be a smile painted all week on my face.
It's not nice.
No, I'm sorry. I think Tommy Fleetwood in the top 10 is a great, and it's a very safe pick as well. I think that's a great call. And there's money to be made there. I'm going to go outside the box a little bit, and with all like the rough news on the sporting scene in Japan right now with the Olympics and whatnot, which we'll get to shortly, they need some good news on the sporting front. And I believe Hideki Matsuyama will deliver. He's got 7 top 20 finishes in the last 8 tournaments, 3 of which were top 5, 2 of which came in his last 2 tourneys. I like what I'm seeing. He's starting to come into form here, and I think he's going to take this one. He's paying 14-1 at the moment, so you're going to make some pretty decent coin on him. I like Hideki. And then for the top 10 finish, my long shot, I'm in love with this. The young Spaniard, Rafa Cabrera Bello, baby. He's paying 90-1. So the odds, not really on my side on this one, but that's okay. He's made cuts in 10 of his last 12 tourneys, so which means he'll probably give you a chance here. And if he survives to the weekend, you've got a lottery ticket that could be paying very nicely in this guy. I'm taking Rafa. Vámonos for the top 10.
The young Spaniard.
Well,
how old do you think he is?
I know he's not young. I'm aware of this.
How old is he?
But he's playing like he's young, all right? He's playing like a kid again.
He's a veteran on tour, 35 years old.
Yeah, I'm aware of this.
I don't think you were, but I do really, I do like the pick at 90-1 as a long shot lottery ticket. I'll throw out a little long shot of my own. I like Patrick Rogers at 150-1. He probably won't win either, but it is it makes the weekend fun to watch, right? I'll be scooping him up at plus 650 on a top 20 pick. He finished top 10 at this tournament 2 years ago, striking the ball great over the last month, and he can definitely take advantage of the par 5s on this course. So Rogers at 150-1, Cabrera Bello at, what is it, 90-1?
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
You better believe it.
We'll be glowed next week when you land and get some cash.
Oh, yeah.
Head to WSN.com for extensive odds and free picks on all major sports. NFL prop time. TopBet released a new prop for Tua Tagovailoa. I practiced that.
Tungo. It's tongue.
It is.
All right?
I told you that too.
I know you did.
Tua Tagovailoa. Jeez, man. Will he go before or after the 3.5 mark? Going to welcome back Brian from TopBet. Brian, what are your thoughts on where Tua might land?
Well, I think it's like the NFL draft every year, it's just a lot of posturing. The 2 and the 3 pick. Do we really believe Detroit's going to pick Tua? Probably not. Washington, are they going to pass on Chase Young after drafting a quarterback last year in the first round? Probably not. So it's a lot of posturing. Are they going to? They're basically just trying to dangle him. Are we going to? Will we trade down? Give us some picks. So it's a question of, do these other NFL teams below, starting, I guess, with Miami, then the Chargers at 6, do they want to trade up and gamble on a guy who potentially, might not ever walk properly again? He was a top of the board guy going into last year. So do we believe that, or do we believe that this injury is actually worse than we expect? So it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot to move up to 2 or 3. You have to give up a lot of draft picks. So it's interesting.
He makes some pretty decent points there. Primarily with, I think it might be a little bit drastic. I'm sure he'll probably walk fine, but what doctors are doing these days. But I at the same time, it is risky. The guy's coming off a detrimental injury. It ruined the end of his college career. Coming into this, obviously he misses the combine. He'll do a private workout in the next few weeks, which will be everyone's going to be watching. But because he is that risky, would you risk the capital and the value and move up to take this guy? I think the only team that really would is the Miami Dolphins, and the Dolphins are picking 4. And like he was saying, I don't think that Washington is going to risk that second rounder. I don't think they're going to move that. That's pretty valuable for them and getting a corner piece player. Detroit, I think there's more smoke than fire with they're going to move on from Matty Stafford. So I think he'll fall to Miami if they want him. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if he falls toward the bottom of the top 10 or potentially even out of it, because it's such a risky play and a total wild card on a guy who was a sure bet just 12 months ago.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking Tua to be drafted after the 3rd pick. I wish I could have made this my best bet but we won't know for a while. We won't know. But I can't wait to loop back to this one and we can all gloat, because I think he definitely gets taken after that 3rd pick. Increasing chatter in the football community about the quarterback's injury concerns, despite being given a clean bill of health at the NFL Combine. I think he could be the latest in a long history of quarterbacks to slide on draft day. Miami seems like a likely landing spot, but I think they're actually maybe leaning towards Oregon's Justin Herbert instead. The real fun begins with your Chargers at the next pick. I think they could cause some fireworks. They could snag him because they have to sort out their complicated quarterback situation. But either way, I don't think there's any way that Tua goes in the top 3. So I'm going after 3.5 overall.
Yeah, and it's a good call. And Tom Telesco, Chargers GM, saying like he just wants to win football games. He's not worried about selling tickets. Sure. The owner feels differently about this. Spanos is all about the money, and they need a name to sell in Los Angeles in that new stadium that looks exactly like the Rams logo. Just throwing that out there. They're playing in someone else's barn. They need to bring in the fans. They're going to need a name. They're going to need a poster boy, and Tua would just be like America's pick. He was America's guy for a few years in Alabama, and he would be great in that system. But yeah, with that said, that's pick number 6. So I'm also with you. I'm taking the over 3.5 for sure. All
right. NBA Coach of the Year odds. Nick Nurse now leads the way. Toronto Raptors head coach. Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, in my mind, it's definitely Nick Nurse's award to lose. The Toronto coach has elevated this Raptors team. They were supposed to falter after losing Kawhi Leonard to the sunnier skies of California. Instead, he's kept Toronto near the top of the NBA standings all season long, and that's despite a rash of injuries to pretty much everyone on the team, including Kyle Lowry and Pascal Siakam. It's honestly been very impressive. Sure, the Bucks have dominated all season. They have a firm grasp on first, but I think that has more to do with the play of the Greek Freak than it does the coaching of Mike Budenholzer. And while it's never really an overly sexy pick to take the betting favorite, I counter that with a splash of a long shot. I will be betting both in this category just in case. I really like the style of Taylor Jenkins in Memphis. The rookie coach has kept his team in a playoff race, and his roster's kind of made up of afterthoughts outside of Jay Morant. His current odds are at plus 1,200. Really interesting. The one worry, though, stats aren't really on his side. Only 2 coaches over the past 20 years have won Coach of the Year with less than 50 wins. The Grizzlies on pace to miss that mark, but if he can get them into the playoffs, he definitely deserves some consideration. So I'm going to take Nurse as my betting favorite, and then why not do a little underdog style, Taylor Jenkins.
I think that's pretty good. And when it comes to the NBA, the last few years anyways, there's been a history of taking the coach that actually does the best with what he has, and not just the superstars that are on the floor. You got to go back to maybe 2016, Steve Kerr winning with Golden State. Obviously the team was star-studded and they had that miracle season too, so hard to look away from that. But I think that's what's working against Budenholzer of the Bucks, is that he's got the Greek freak out there, and every time he's on the floor, not only do you have a chance to win, you're probably going to win because the guy is such a stud out there, and you hit the nail on the head. I mean, the Raptors have been battling injuries here and there, and they enter this season obviously coming in as NBA champs, so the odds are on their side, but they lose Kawhi Leonard, who was the centerpiece of that entire operation, the epicenter of it all last year. So it's hard to look against Nurse, and based on the history of this award over the last few years, they give it to the coach that does the best with the limited amount of talent here and there throughout the year, and that's the story of the Raptors so far. So yeah, I completely agree.
And I will jump in and say too that it is extremely rare in the NBA coaching circles that a coach wins Coach of the Year twice in a row. So there's another shot against Budenholzer because he won last year. This is true. Deservedly so.
I'm with you guys. Has to be Nick Nurse. Like, there's no one else with the amount of undrafted players alone that are somehow just blowing our socks off.
He's nursing this team back to health one day at a time.
I felt like we were lacking a pun.
We were waiting. Yeah. This is the longest you've gone maybe into an episode without a pun yet.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
All right.
Restraints.
Let's move on to another big award, NHL Rookie of the Year, which is pretty much just down to 2. Defenseman Cale Makar with the Colorado Avalanche sitting at -130, and Vancouver Canucks defenseman Quinn Hughes sitting at +100. And yes, I did just say defenseman twice. 47 points on the season for Makar, 51 for Hughes at this moment. Super impressive seasons from both these guys.
Yeah.
It's hard. I feel like it's going to be Hughes. I want it to be Hughes.
It's on, like you said, it is going to be a 2-horse race when it comes to this Calder Trophy. Makar, Hughes, they're on pace to lead all rookies in scoring, and as you mentioned, their defensemen. That is unreal. It's been a lot of fun to watch. All season, Makar has had that slight edge after a fantastic start with Colorado. The talented D-man slowing down a little bit since the All-Star break. Only 1 goal over his last 15 games entering this week. On the other side, Hughes has been on fire. Most points amongst all defensemen in the NHL since the break. Not rookie D-men, all D-men. It is nuts. It's going to be close until the final game, though. Like, honestly, we're almost a little bit too early in making these predictions because if you're betting right now, Hughes would be my pick. His ability to control the game, move the puck, create scoring chances. He's among the league's best already, and he's a kid. Makar, more of a meat and potatoes type of player with his skill set. I'm actually kicking myself because in the preseason, you could have nabbed Hughes at 7-1 odds, and I didn't do it. Even at lesser odds, I will not be making the same mistake twice. So I'm going to take Quinn Hughes as the winner of the Calder Trophy at +100.
That's fair. In so many years in so many different major sports, it comes down to like 3 or 4 different guys that, maybe it'll be this guy. There's a good case for that. In the NBA and the NHL this year, it is just down to 2 guys, totally. Zion and Ja, and you got Cale and Quinn here. So I do agree. On other broadcasts, I've taken Cale Makar earlier in the season, and I mean the start that he got off to, and just the highlight reel that he was producing was very impressive. But Quinn Hughes, I mean, he's been doing a lot of stuff under the radar. He just set the Canucks franchise record for rookie assists, which you look back and Canucks rookies, and maybe that's not the hardest feat to get, but nonetheless, that just goes to show you he's had a hell of a season. When it comes to the Pacific Division, a lot of teams kind of get forgotten there, I guess maybe because of the time zone. But this guy's been doing a great job, and what I love most about it is that he's been doing it, in my mind, as an undersized defenseman, because you used to think like the prototypical D-man, 6'2", 3'4", 220 pounds, something like that, a stay-at-home house sort of thing. Hughes 5'10", 170 pounds. It's very impressive. He's not just speed, he's not just elusiveness. His hands are amazing out there as well. And the big stat that jumps off the page for me is the power play points that he's produced. He's got 7 more right now on the special team side than Cale Makar as of the taping of this broadcast. Which which goes to show me that, the Canucks are giving this kid so many opportunities. And, this team right now is kind of in the clutch. They really need to start winning games. So he's going to get a lot more of these opportunities as well. So, and that just bodes very well for him in this award. So I like Hughes. I support your pick of Quinn to win the Calder.
Yeah, right. And if you're listening to him, he did just say himself that he is the best player over the last 30 games, right? So
there it is.
Take that confidence to the bank. Move on to Davis Cup. Qualifying begins this weekend. Kind of going over everything. There's not a lot of great odds.
Yeah, not quite. That's why it's qualifying.
It's early on, yeah. So
I was looking at Australia at minus 715 over Brazil at plus 470. I mean, I think Australia is going to cruise to the win there. There's a couple injuries with Kyrgios and de Minaur, but I still think that they're going to make their way through. So that's my bet there. I'm going with Australia at minus 715.
Kyrgios probably wouldn't finish the tournament anyhow. He'd probably either get ejected or just walk off the court.
Start a fight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. There's not a lot here. I mean, I threw down my my best bet. I alluded to it at the top of the show. I'll throw it out there. You just tossed yours out not long ago. I am taking the Croatians over Team India. Am I going out on a ledge for this one? Absolutely not. I would love to say that this is a total sexy pick, and I'm going off the board here. But DraftKings and 888 Sport in New Jersey, they're ranking Croatia. They're paying minus 770. India's plus 500. So there's the odds for you. They're led by Marin Cilic, who's having an awesome time right now on the ATP Tour. So I see them heading into this with a lot of momentum. The other one, which is just absolute ridiculous odds right now. So if you want a payday, you're going to have to fork out a hell of a lot, but you could make an easy buck, no problem. It's Italy taking on South Korea. Italy minus 10,000, South Korea plus 2,000. And it's also on a clay court as well, which bodes very well for the Italians. The Italian Open in Rome, of course, played on a clay court. So, so right now, as you were saying, they're not the sexiest picks right now in the Davis Cup, but things are heating up. We're getting into it.
Absolutely.
We need to introduce a new rule for the best bet, Corey. The best bet has to be like a plus. You can't
I know. I looked out there and I saw some decent ones, but
hey, you know what? I respect that you didn't make the best bet Italy at minus 10,000.
Yeah, that would be easy money right there. I can think it out. I can do another one if you want.
No, that's your best bet, and you're on a roll, man. 8-2, like you said, over the last 10 weeks.
Whoa. I see what you're doing here. Those 8 wins have come on excellent underdog bets. Maybe not all of them, but some of them have. The Rafa Nadal, let's not include that one. But most of them have been well thought out.
Totally. Yeah.
Beautiful bets.
Yep. Nope. No one takes risks like Ryan.
Well. Okay.
Oh,
all right.
Baby.
Okay.
Now, that being said, I'm going to agree with Ryan on this Croatia thing. There's a lot of intriguing matchups at this tennis tournament. Lots to choose from. Unfortunately, a lot of the big names are missing in action because of injuries. I looked hard. I really did. I just don't feel great about any major upset, so my picks won't land you a lot of value, but there is cash to be made if you make the right picks. My favorites in this matchup, at least where the odds are decent, is what Ryan mentioned as his best bet. I agree. I landed on Croatia to beat India at minus 770. The Croatians' well-rounded squad, single stars Marin Cilic and Borna Koric. The duo backed up by doubles specialist Ivan Dodig and Mate Pavic. As for India, they're still finding their footing on the international tennis scene, so if you're looking to increase your odds, head through WSN.com. They have links to DraftKings where you can bet on a series sweep, which is what I'm going to do. Those odds much better, and I definitely think it happens.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. We're going to go off the board, and we're going to have cricket. We're going to bet some 2020, and we're going to throw in, some Aussie rules. And then we'll see. You're going to be giving your weather reports. Yeah. It's going to be fantastic. Ridiculous.
Okay, moving along to the Olympics. Now, this one's interesting and a little unnerving, to be honest. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like people are definitely split on the seriousness of what's going on and whether or not...
What is going on?
Coronavirus?
Oh, right.
COVID-19.
Yes.
That thing that is spreading and spreading and spreading. So we're looking at the odds that they'll be postponed, canceled, pushed. What do we think? What are we going?
Yeah, I'll jump in. You don't want to really cause a panic or be overly worried, but I admit this coronavirus is kind of starting to freak me out a little bit. I watched the movie Contagion last week.
Why?
And that, I don't know. It didn't help diminish the fears at all.
No.
The film did a great job of detailing how these viruses spread, and man, it kind of terrified me. At this point, I don't see how the Olympics can go ahead. I realize the games are still months away, but sporting events around the globe are now being canceled every single day. Earlier this week, several World Hockey Championship tournaments were canceled. Today, they announced in Italian soccer that fans won't be allowed in the stadium for the rest of the month. The games are still going ahead, but no fans, to try and squash some fears there. Well, in the coming months, Olympic qualifying tournaments have to take place to get into the Olympics. So how is that going to work if they're already blocking these tournaments? The IOC is already on record as saying May is the absolute last possible month in which they can decide if the games are going to go ahead. That gives officials less than 2 months to get a handle on this thing. That is not a lot of time. Safety has to be a priority. So I think the games get canceled, and that is currently paying through WSN.com plus 160.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Did you see the continuation, the sequel to Contagion? With Matt Damon, We Bought a Zoo. It was tremendous. Yeah, you were ripping me for not seeing good movies. We Bought a Zoo.
Have you seen the sequel to that one? We Bought a Zoo 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Is that a thing? It's a nice rhyme, though. I'll give you that. On this one, it's interesting. I mean, minus 180 for yes, plus 150 for no. If these things are going to go off when they're scheduled, July 24th, 2020. One of the options, and you nailed it on the head there, is that they could play in front of empty stadiums and empty arenas. And there's like a contingency plan like that for March Madness at the moment too. But it would be an absolute shame, because there was stories coming out in the news 6 months ago or something saying they might run out of hotel rooms during the time in Tokyo. So the world is going over, they're booked, they're ready to rock, and to tell them that they can't go in would be a total heartbreaker. I don't think that they're going to happen on the date. I think that the wise move, and when it comes to the Olympics, they're not making money through attendance at these events. I mean, some venues will just hold a few thousand people. They're not making a ton of dough there. It's through TV ratings and whatnot, so you might not suffer too much. But at the same time, this may be the time when we move the Olympics to the next year and we change the order of things. And I know people's heads are exploding right now. That can't happen. Why not? It just makes perfect sense. For some of the older athletes who might miss their chance,
Totally.
it's very unfortunate, but given the circumstances, that makes way more sense to me than playing a few weeks of events, world-class events in front of empty stadiums. That's just absolutely ridiculous. Why put people through the fear of even throwing these things and attending these events? At the same time, the Australian Open, everybody thought that they were going to move the dates for that, and they decided to go through with it. And what happened? It actually worked out okay. The fires died down a little bit, smoke went in the other direction, and it all worked out just fine. So there's still a lot of time here. They don't need to push the button just yet, but in all honesty, just move the Olympics and problems are solved. So, I mean, that's my take on it. So I'm going to say that they're not going to happen on time.
Yeah, I'm with Ryan on this one. Sorry, Adam. I think they're going to push through, start on time.
The IOC has said they, under any circumstance, will not delay the games. They're either happening as scheduled or canceled. Yeah.
I know. I get it.
Okay.
I know what the IOC has said. I know what they have said. But now
they've lied to us in the past.
Okay,
they're lying again.
Right now, news just keeps getting worse every single week about the coronavirus. So their arm is twisting more and more every single week. So, I mean, I hope that changes, and I hope they do go ahead with the games. But the way things are going right now, I feel like that's the safe.
Let me throw this out to you guys.
Okay.
Please do.
If you were offered free tickets to the Olympic Games this summer, would you go?
Oh, yeah. I've been to Japan. It's amazing. I'll go back anytime.
Even under what's happening right now?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
No problem.
See, I'm back and forth on that because I do have a trip booked, not to Japan, but to go to Mexico near the end of the month, and I'm mulling it over now myself. Like, is it worth it for me to go?
Yeah, there's travel advisories across the board. And, that's the thing, is that if countries actually lay these down and they're pretty firm and they stick to them, the IOC kind of doesn't have a choice at that point if teams can't make it over to the games. So
they have to cancel them.
This is what I'm saying. So they'll have to move that date. So
they'll have to cancel them.
Well, we'll see about that. I don't know why you'd cancel the Summer Olympics. That doesn't make any sense to me.
It does seem strange. It'd be one of those things in history. I don't know.
Right?
All right. WTA Monterrey.
Speaking of Mexico.
Speaking of Mexico, yeah, no doubt. This one, I'm also really nervous about my pick on this one. Now, I'm watching it closely because as we're taping right now, Leylah Fernandez is playing Sloane Stephens. And I, before this match started, had Leylah down as my pick. She's 17 years old, which is insane. She flew through last weekend to the finals. She didn't win in the finals, but she's 17 and she won in straight sets all the way up there. She's taking on, like I said, Sloane Stephens right now. They're in the third set and she is leading at this moment. So I'm going to stick with that bet. I like the odds on Leylah Fernandez. She's at plus 1850. Go Leylah.
We've discussed this in previous weeks where it is really tough to pick winners on the WTA where there isn't the big three of Rafa Nadal and Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, and there is a bit more variety. Like some of the players I was looking at earlier in this tournament, like Venus Williams, lost in the first round. That was a big upset. But it is a very deep field, and because it's a deep field, you can deep dive on the odds, and there's some fantastic value on there. On the top half of the draw, there is the top rank Alina Svitolina, and then, as you mentioned, number 5 seed Sloane Stephens. They're the favorites. I don't like their odds or recent play, to be honest. I think that the top half of the draw is pretty wide open, and that's where the Canadian teen, Leylah Fernandez, should capitalize. After impressing last week, her odds are about 18-1 right now. I can't turn away from that value. The bottom half of the draw is actually much tougher. However, I do like a couple of Russians if you're looking, again, for some value. Maria Buzakova at 11-1, the easiest path to the final, while Anastasia Potapova is in a much tougher bracket as well, but offers great value at 21-1. It's not a style I employ often when betting, but I'm going to take all 3 women to win because at their current odds, if Fernandez, Potapova, or Buzakova win, I will come away with a hefty profit. So let's go.
Ooh.
So let me just get this straight while we're here at this junction.
Yes.
So I'm going to put down a best bet on one country at the Davis Cup, but you're going to throw down bets on 3 players as we enter the quarterfinals.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just double checking.
Because I'll explain it to you. If you put down $10 on Croatia to win at minus 770, you'll win $7.70. If you bet on one of these 3 women, say $5 each, and one of them wins, it's a guaranteed $100 profit.
All right.
I like $100 over $70.
I mean, that's fair. But you're taking a lot of people. It feels like golf. Taking 6 people, tennis, I'll take 3.
It works.
You know what? I'm going to change my best bet. I'm going to take Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes. So
I like it.
Yeah, right? Good odds there, I think. So
again, if you take both of them, that will get you about $10.
And Nick Nurse. Book it.
If you want me to pick a winner, sure, I'll go Potapova. There you go.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
Okay, so I totally hear what you're saying. She has cooled a little bit, but in this tournament, Svitolina, the Ukrainian, ranked 7th in the world. I think right now she's kind of on easy street. She's got the Belarusian Govortsova right now in the round of 16, heading to the quarterfinals. She will get either Leylah Fernandez or Sloane Stephens, pending the outcome of that matchup. So that's a tough one, but if she can squeak her way through there, it is pretty much easy street to the finals, and there's enough gas in the tank that I gotta believe that she'll take this one. So Svitolina is my pick, Ukrainian for the win.
Okay, head to WSN.com for expert online sportsbook reviews that let you compare all the best legal sports betting sites available in the United States. MLS futures have changed with Martinez, Tourney, Seattle, and Atlanta. Ryan?
Yeah, it seems like just 1 week ago where we made the picks, and I said let's go with Atlanta. So that's a tough one. I'm gonna stick with the pick. I mean, like we did with March Madness earlier. You can't make a pick 1 week and then a few weeks later switch things up so easily. So I'm not going to say that Atlanta is going to get the job done, but I'm not going to abandon that pick. I still think it could be good money. And I mean, they're still ranked very high right now, considering that giant loss of Martinez. So right now you'll find LAFC atop everyone's board right now, not paying much whatsoever because they are the clear-cut favorites now that Martinez is gone. So with that said, I'm going to go with my other pick. It was my long shot before, but now I'm putting money on those ponies. I'm going with the New York Red Bulls. They're paying plus 2,000. They're 9th in the power ranks. Stranger things have happened. And another one that you could throw money down on, if we're allowed to pick multiple teams here, I think I just might. Montreal picked up Victor Wanyama from Tottenham this past week. I think that's an absolute huge addition. He now enters the MLS as easily one of the best midfielders in the game, and that really improves their odds. He hasn't hit the pitch just yet, so their odds actually haven't changed. They're still plus 2,000. Once they get going, once they get on a roll, they could be pretty damn awesome. And this guy should be able to just walk in no problem and start things up without needing a few kind of warm-up games out there. So I do like the impact. I'm sticking with the Red Bulls, though. Those are my picks.
All right, yeah, it's a huge injury for Atlanta, and it's unfortunately for Atlanta great news for my preseason prediction of LAFC, because I had them at plus 350, and after 1 week they're already down to plus 275, and I think the odds keep falling. I feel bad for you, buddy. To put money down and then you have to kind of watch this MLS season unfold.
It's okay.
It is rough. Atlanta still has the second best odds at plus 800. I think it's a fool's errand to dump more money into this team. The injury to Martinez is too much to overcome. One team I like a lot more now in the East is Toronto FC at plus 1,200. The Canadian club and New York City FC will benefit the most from Atlanta's injury woes. Toronto's path to the playoffs and home field advantage greatly improved over the weekend, and the odds have not quite caught up. So I'm going to jump on them now because I don't think that plus 1,200 number hangs around for very long. So at West, I still got LAFC at my original number, plus 350, and then just for safety, I'm going to hop on Toronto at plus 1,200.
All right, moving along to the XFL. New York Guardians, the Dallas Renegades. Renegades minus 7.5. Adam.
We have reached the halfway point of the XFL season. Can you feel the excitement?
Baby.
And this game actually is the one I'm most excited about for this weekend's slate of games. Dallas favored by over a touchdown despite losing starting quarterback Landry Jones with an injury. His replacement, Philip Nelson, who actually started in a week 1 loss. I think this line is way too high. New York may have something with new quarterback Louis Perez. He impressed in his first XFL start on the weekend. He had 18 of 26 completions, 150 yards, a touchdown, no turnovers. And more importantly, I really like the running back, this Darius Victor. The kid has moves. He showed it, 82 yards on 18 carries, a very balanced attack against a Dallas team that is still trying to find its footing. On the defensive side of the ball, New York, very, very underrated. And I think the Guardians do a great job of guarding the end zone, pulling off the upset. Take New York to cover the points, and if you're feeling confident like I am, snag them on the money line as well for the road victory.
It's not a pun if you just use the word.
No, it's Guardians, and then I changed it to Guardian.
Okay, all right, well, fair.
Different word.
I didn't hear it correctly. I'm sorry. Yeah, in this one, so I apologize. You're taking the Guardians to cover the spread?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, baby. He's going with Matt McGloin, and I learned in week 2 that
McGloin's out, buddy. That's why I'm
Is
taking
McGloin
him.
out?
McGloin is out. It's Louis Perez time. Let's go.
Okay. My mistake. I thought it was going back and forth. I thought it was a game timer. But anyhow, I just can't trust New York. I put so much faith in them, and I gave them this huge spiel back in week 2 of the season. How amazing. Oh, football's back in New York. And much like Gonzaga at the top of the show, I've been burned one too many times by these damn New York Guardians. And by that, I mean once. And I will not bet on them again. One time is one time too many. So it's not going to happen. I like Dallas. It's a 7.5 point spread. And as we've seen in a pretty low scoring XFL season, that's quite hefty. However, I still believe in Dallas, especially at home, where their record is much, much better than the away. Nonetheless, I like the Guardians, and I'm taking them for the win.
You can tell that the XFL, the Oddsmakers, as we said earlier, weren't able to really figure out these spreads and these over-unders. Pretty much every single game on this week's slate, the over-under is set at below 40 points. Kind of shows you that this league is struggling for offense.
Yeah, it's just we watched one home game at Dallas, and I mean they lost the game, but they came out flying, and I feel like Dallas at home, it's got a lot going for it. And yeah, the spread does worry me. If we could just pick money line here, this would be no problem. But I tried to pick money line one too many times on the NFL programs, and I got ripped for that, and I've been ripped a few times already. So I'm just going to stick with the spread. I'm going to go with Dallas for the win.
All right. Well, it's about that time when we get to this week's best bet recap. And I would like to have an update here on Leylah Fernandez, because she is officially defeated Sloane Stephens in the round of 16. So I'm going to go with Leylah Fernandez as my best bet of the week.
All right.
Plus 1850. I'm not going safe. I know I maybe said I should go safer, but that gave me some confidence with her beating Sloane Stephens. I'm feeling really good about it. Leylah Fernandez plus 1850, winning the WTA Monterrey.
She's playing the best tennis of any female tennis player out there right now on this circuit. So yeah, I back the bet. I'm impressed. My best bet of the week will again be on the links. The Arnold Palmer Invitational, featuring my best bet of the week, Tyrrell Hatton, back from wrist surgery, showing no lingering effects, but the odds makers don't quite trust him yet. I do, and I will take advantage. Hatton, to finish in the top 10 this week, pays a fantastic plus 600. Load up on Hatton and sit back. Count your winnings come Sunday afternoon. And if you're feeling a little frisky, his odds are 60 to 1 to win the tournament. I'm going to do both. But again, my best bet is a top 10 finish from Sir Tyrrell Hatton.
That's fair. I want to rewind just a second back to the XFL before I lock in my best bet.
Okay.
And I feel like the sarcasm really couldn't be sensed in my delivery when I said their home record is much better than their road, because it is not. So let's go back to this best bet. The delivery just, I got a sore throat going on. It wasn't there. Very disappointing. Anyways, Croatia.
Your suit looks great.
Thank you.
It is sharp.
It's actually the short sleeve shirt too. I outsmarted everybody.
Yes, you did.
Oh yeah, Croatia over India in Davis Cup action. It's the first round of qualifiers. This is not that sexy a pick. We've been over this. They're paying minus 770, but DraftKings loves them. 888 Sport loves them, and so do I. Croatia, led by Marin Cilic, to kill it this weekend and take out Team India to move on in the Davis Cup.
All right, a reminder, real money daily fantasy sports are a great option for people living in a state where traditional sports betting isn't legal. Head to WSN.com and they can set you up with links to DraftKings and FanDuel. Don't forget as well to head over to WSN.com and WSN's YouTube channel for tons of coverage on all sports. Make sure you like and subscribe to Prop Drop. For Adam Forsythe and Ryan Sullivan, I'm Alece Anderson, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.